earlier class we have discussed one problem, and that problem we have established the one side inequality. The problem was, let H be a Hilbert space and M be a convex subset of X. H, M be a convex subset of H. H and Xn be a sequence of points in M, and Xn the sequence of points in M such that norm of Xn goes to D as n tends to infinity, where D is the infimum of norm X when X belongs to M. Then it is required to show that Xn converges in M, and so that Xn converges in H. That was the problem. This was the exercise last time. So, what we have discussed is, we have established one equation. Instead of showing this converges, it is sufficient to show the sequence Xn is Cauchy, is it not? Once it is Cauchy in H and H is complete, so it must be convergent because H is complete. So, to establish this, we have started with Xn minus Xm whole square, and using our parallelogram laws, we have proved that this is greater than or equal to 0. This was shown in the last lecture. Okay. In fact, we require now the less than equal to sign also. So, to prove norm of Xn minus Xm whole square is less than equal to 0, we start with this again, norm of Xn minus Xm whole square, that is equal to 2 times norm Xn, 2 times norm Xm square, Xm square, minus norm of Xn plus Xm whole square. This is by parallelogram law, is it not? Law. Okay. Now, in the earlier case, we have not made use of this condition that M is a convex subset of this. M, this is a convex subset of H. We have not made use of this. So, since M is a convex subset of H, so by definition of the convex set, if we pick up the 2 point x n and by n or x n by, then any line segment joining x by must be available inside it. That is, so if x n belongs to M, by n belongs to M, then the point x n plus x m, which is the middle point joining the line segments, must also be the point of M. Now, this is given D is the infimum of norm of x when x belongs to M. So, this is also a point of M. So, it is the infimum of norm of x n plus x m by 2, is it not, when this point belongs to M. So, if I remove the infimum sign, then what we get from here is, so we get the x n plus x m by 2 norm of this is greater than equal to D, because of the infimum, because infimum this is the smallest number D. So, this value will be greater than equal to D. Therefore, norm of x n plus x m whole square is greater than equal to 4 D square. So, minus times of this is less than equal to minus 4 D square. Okay. And then now you substitute it here, substitute in A. So, if you put it in A, then what we get here is x n minus x m whole square, this is equal to 2 times x n square 2 times x m square and minus of this means 4 d square and sign will come less than equal to. Is it clear? So, this was the crutch because m is a convex set, that is why we are getting less than. Okay. Now, as n tends to n m goes to infinity, this is given that norm of x n goes to d, norm of x m will also go to d. Okay. So, when n m tends to infinity, this x n minus x m norm of this will go to 0. In fact, it is less than equal to 0, is it not? In fact, this will be less than equal to 0. So, this will be x n minus x m whole square is less than equal to 0 for n m greater than equal to capital N, and there it was greater than equal to 0. So, basically it will tends to 0 as n m goes to infinity, but norm cannot tends to 0 means norm is 0. So, basically x n is a Cauchy sequence in what x n is a point in M. So, it is also a point in H. So, Cauchy sequence in H, and H is complete, H is complete. Okay. So, it must be convergence. Clear? So, this was the argument which was left in this that lecture. Okay. In fact, one side only we have established, other side we have to establish using the convexity of the M. Clear? So, it is clear. So, that is why. Okay. Now, let us look some other problem before going for the. We have also discussed some orthogonal complement, is it not, and this. So, we have discussed the orthogonal complement or special orthogonal, we call it as a annihilator, annihilator. Orthogonal especially is a special annihilator, where the annihilator M perpendicular annihilator M perpendicular of a set M which is not empty in an inner product space capital X is the set X belongs to capital X such that X is orthogonal to M. Okay. So, orthogonal complement is a particular case of the annihilator. Okay. Orthogonal complement, when we go for the projection theorem, then we have used the biperpendicular, that is the orthogonal complement of bi. So, annihilator, the orthogonal complement is special case of the annihilator. Now, this annihilator, the problem is the M perpendicular is a vector subspace, is a vector subspace, is a vector space. Okay. Why it was not discussed, na? A vector space. First thing is we wanted to, so this is a vector space. So, if a linear combination of x belongs to M perpendicular, y belongs to M perpendicular, if it implies that alpha x plus beta y belongs to M perpendicular, then so required to prove this part to show it is a vector space. Clear? So, consider the inner product of this with the elements of M. Since x belongs to M perpendicular, so it implies the inner product of x b is 0 for every v belongs to M. Similarly, y belongs to perpendicular, so y. So, for v belongs to M, consider inner product of alpha x plus beta y v. Now, this can be written as alpha times inner product of this, beta times inner product of this. Now, x is an element of M perpendicular, so this product will, this inner product will be 0, Y is an element of the M perpendicular. So, this inner product will be 0, total is 0 for every V belongs to M. Therefore, alpha x plus beta y will also be a perpendicular elements of M, that is it belongs to M perpendicular. So, M perpendicular is a vector space. Clear? And not only this vector space, M perpendicular is also closed. Closed. It is a closed subspace of say H, whatever the element M belongs to that. Why it is closed? It means all the limits point of this sequence of this M will be a point of M perpendicular. So, if we take any sequence x n which is in M perpendicular, the limit point has to be in M perpendicular if it is closed. So, let us start, let x n be a sequence of the points belongs to M perpendicular. So, by definition the inner product of x and v is 0 for every v belongs to M. Let us suppose let x n converges to x, okay, in the inner product defined on M. Then it is required to prove that x must be the point of M perpendicular, that is inner product of x b must be 0. Okay. So, consider inner product of x n comma x n minus x comma b. This can be written as x n comma b minus x comma b. Now, since the inner product is a continuous function, is it not? So, as n tends to infinity, x n converges to x. So, this limit will go inside. So, the left hand side will be 0 v, okay, clear, 0 v, and the right hand side, yes, before this let us go, this can be written as 0 minus x b. Why? Because x n is a point in M perpendicular. So, x n b must be 0. Okay. So, now you take the limit as n tends to infinity. So, this side will be 0 v is nothing but the minus x b, but v is any elements belongs to M. When one coordinate is 0, so it will be 0 will be x b. So, this implies x belongs to M perpendicular. Okay. So, if we take a sequence x n in M perpendicular, the limit point has to be in M perpendicular, therefore, M perpendicular is closed. Exit?
Sir, why are we able to take the limit point inside?
Because
Is it a continuous function?
inner product is a continuous function. So, limit can be given inside. When you take the limit of this as a limit will go here, okay, and it will be continuous. Clear? So, that is what I think it is okay. Now, this also suggests one another example. In general, M is a subset of M perpendicular perpendicular, but converse need not be true. Converse need not be true. In general, M is contained in the annihilator of annihilators, that is perpendicular perpendicular, but M perpendicular perpendicular may not be the subset of M always. Okay. The solution is this very simple. Suppose let x belongs to M. Okay. It means, what do you mean? X belongs to M. So, x and M, they are at right angle, M perpendicular at right angle to each other, orthogonal complements of M. Okay. Once it is orthogonal complement, so it means x must be the point of M perpendicular perpendicular, is it not? Again the orthogonal complements. So, that is equal to, so M is a subset of M orthogonal complement orthogonal. Okay. Converse need not be true. Okay. It means we have to give a example, counter example where the converse need not be true. Okay. So, let us take an example here. Suppose I say let x is equal to r square. Okay. R square, find m perpendicular if m is a linearly independent set x 1 comma x 2, x 1 x 2 which is a subset of x. Okay. Now, for converse need not true. Okay. Need not true, need not be true, not be true. Okay. This is so M is a linearly independent set x 1 x 2, this is our M, x 1 x 2 which is a subset of x. Okay. What is R 2? In case of R 2, the inner product is defined as inner product of x by is xi 1 eta 1 plus xi 2 eta 2, where x is xi 1 xi 2, y is eta 1 eta 2. So, x is this point, x is this point x 1 x 2, this is the point M. Okay. X is. Now, if this set is linearly independent, given x 1 M which is x 1 comma x 2 is linearly independent. So, alpha 1 x 1 plus beta alpha 1 or alpha plus beta 1 x 2 is 0, implies alpha 1 is 0, beta 1 is 0. Set of vector is linearly independent if the scalars alpha 1 x 1 plus alpha 2 x 2 is 0, implies all alphas are 0. So, alpha 1 is 0, beta 1 is 0. It means this inner product, this is basically the inner product of what? If can we not write this thing as the inner product of x comma say alpha, where is 0, where x is x 1 comma x 2, alpha is alpha 1 comma beta 1. This is also in R 2, this is also in R 2. Clear? It means if x is given, we have got an element whose inner product is coming to be 0. So, this implies that alpha must be belongs to M perpendicular, is it not? Clear? But what is alpha 1 beta 1 is coming to be 0 0. So, this is coming to be 0 0. So, it means 0 0 is a point in M perpendicular. Agreed? Okay. Now, if we want the perpendicular, what is the this set perpendicular? M perpendicular is the set of those points, say I take psi 1 comma psi 2 such that inner product of this, that is psi, inner product of psi alpha is 0, is it not? Because alpha belongs to M perpendicular. M perpendicular set of those points psi belongs to R 2 whose inner product with this is 0. Now, alpha is what? 0 0. So, psi, what should be the value of psi 1 psi 2? Alpha is already coming, this is alpha, is 0 0. We want the inner product of psi alpha to be 0. So, what type of the psi may be? whatever may be, it means this is the entire R 2, is it not? Any x I 1 x I 2 will solve our purpose, but this does not contain M, this is not M perpendicular is not the subset of M. Is it correct or not? Because M is our what? M is the set of only linearly independent vectors, while this does not contain, it may contain any, maybe linearly independent dependent. So, that is why it is not subset. Okay. So, this in general, if X is M is a set, then its orthogonal complement will cover M, but converse need not be true always. Then what should be the restriction on M, so that they both are equal, because normally we go for just like a dual. When we go to set X is dual X prime, then second dual X double dot, and when the second dual coincide with X, we say it is a reflexive and all these property will come out. So, here also if its second of the complement coincide with M, then you get a better structures instead of them, because otherwise every time you have to search for what is the second orthogonal complement altogether, then what will be the third, and so on. So, the restriction is that exercise is this: if Y is a closed subspace, if Y is a closed subspace of a Hilbert space H, then Y is equal to orthogonal complement. It means it should be the closeness is must. Okay. Solution. Okay. Now, one way it is obviously true, Y is subset of by orthogonal, it is obvious, is it not, or it is true always, then nothing to prove for it. Okay. That now, in order to prove the Y contains by perpendicular, this is our required to prove. Okay. So, let us take an element Y belongs X, let us take an element X belongs to by perpendicular. Okay. Now, Y is a closed subspace of the Hilbert space H. So, once H is a Hilbert space, Y is a closed subspace of the Hilbert space H. So, by projection theorem, H can be expressed as a direct sum of Y and Y perpendicular. Is it not clear? It means whenever you take any point X belongs to by perpendicular, it must be a point of H also. Okay. So, from here, so we can write X as by plus Z, okay, by projection theorem. This is by projection theorem. Is it correct or not?
It belongs to Y perpendicular.
Yes, by projection theorem. Okay, by projection theorem, where what is by? Where by
Belongs to the subspace Y.
by which is subset of by perpendicular, it is given. In fact, it is
It is
already there. Okay. So, nothing is. Okay. Now, since the orthogonal complement annihilators, they are vector spaces, is it not? So, since by perpendicular is a vector space, okay. So, we get from here and X belongs to by perpendicular by assumption. This is by assumption, is it not? Assumption. So, X belongs to by perpendicular, by is also a by perpendicular, therefore, it implies X minus by, this will be the point in by perpendicular perpendicular. Is it okay or not? But x minus y is nothing but z. Is it okay? Z. So this shows, this implies z must be orthogonal to by perpendicular. Is it okay? Because it is belongs to by perpendicular perpendicular. So z should be the orthogonal to by perpendicular. But from this theorem, if by belongs to this, then z must be the point in by orthogonal. But from projection theorem, z should be the point in by perpendicular, because this is belongs to by and this is by perpendicular. So z must be the point in by perpendicular. Here z is coming to the orthogonal to the by perpendicular. So combine this thing, we say the inner product of z is 0. This implies that z is equal to 0. Agreed? Once z is 0, then x minus y equal to 0. So this implies x equal to y. Okay? But what is our x? X is a point by perpendicular perpendicular. What is by? By is a point in is capital by. So it means this shows that x is a point in y. Okay? So by perpendicular perpendicular, therefore by perpendicular perpendicular is a subset of y. Okay? So this proves the result. Is it correct now? So this proves the result. Is this clear or not? And x is arbitrary, so we can say by is equal. Huh? Okay. So this is an interesting result. And then another, yes.
So why this is called the annihilator? As you know that annihilator means the operator which basically put in the equation that you get as a null operator. Then why basically this perpendicular was the annihilator?
Annihilators may, because it transfers the point x to the perpendicular means 0. Is it not? And null operator are also the same. So that is why this word is taken from there. Otherwise, it is a okay. Okay. Then another example that is also interesting. For any subset M, which is not empty, of a Hilbert space H, the span of M is dense in H if and only if M perpendicular is the singleton set 0. Solution. So, if an annihilator of a set M comes out to be 0, then that set A will span the entire class H. That is, closure of the span of that M will be H. Okay. So, second part of this becomes 0, because H can be expressed as a sum of the two. One is closed subspace, another one is Z. So, here Z behaves as a singleton set 0. Okay. So, just identifying that annihilator of a set M is 0, it means it is very easy to find out H, just find the span of the M and get it. That is what is the result. Okay. So, let us see the solution for it. So, first is assume that span of M is dense in H. Span of M is dense in H. Okay. This is required to prove is the M orthogonal complement is 0. Okay. So, let X be an element of L orthogonal complement of H. Now, suppose assume span of this V is the span of M, which is dense in H, that is the closure of B bar is H. That is what span means, closure of B bar is H. Okay. Now, if X belongs to M perpendicular, M, what is M? M is a subset of the Hilbert space H. M perpendicular is a closed, always closed, orthogonal complement is always closed. So, by projection theorem, X can be expressed as M perpendicular and this something. So, it must be the point H also. So, let X belongs to, then X belongs to V bar, which is H. Okay. V bar below, then V bar by theorem. Okay. Is it clear or not? This is H. So, now if a point belongs to the closure of a set, it means there must be a sequence of the points in V which converges to the point X. So, there exists a sequence x n in a V such that x n will go to x, x n will go to x. Okay. Okay. Now, since x is a point belonging to M orthogonal complement of M and M perpendicular is perpendicular to V, why? X belongs to M perpendicular, this is our assumption. M perpendicular, V is the span of this, V is the span of M. So, any element of V will be the elements, linear combination elements of M. So, if any element belongs to the orthogonal complement will be the orthogonal to M. So, that is why the X in also it will be orthogonal to this. So, M perpendicular will be perpendicular to V. Therefore, inner product of X and V X will be 0. Therefore, inner product X n is 0. Okay. But since the inner product is continuous, and x n goes to x, this is our, therefore, it will imply, this will implies the inner product of x x is 0. Inner product x x 0 means norm x square is 0, this implies x is 0. So, we have assumed that x belongs to M perpendicular. So, this shows M perpendicular is 0. Okay. So, one way it is clear. Okay. X is an arbitrary, therefore, the M perpendicular, as x is arbitrary. So, we get this clear. Now, conversely, suppose given M perpendicular is singleton set 0, then we have to show that this span of M is dense in H. Okay. So, what we say is, let V is the span of M, clear, that is what V. Okay. Now, x is perpendicular, then if x is perpendicular to V, if x is perpendicular to V, then x must be perpendicular to M, because V is the span of M. Okay. So, that x belongs to M perpendicular, but M perpendicular is 0, but which is 0. So, this implies x is 0. Okay. It means, therefore, our V B perpendicular is 0. Okay. The B perpendicular is 0. So, V is in the subspace of this and B bar is okay. Now, let us take, this is our H. Okay. H can be written as V plus V perpendicular. Okay. B perpendicular is coming to be 0. So, this will basically V plus 0, is it not? But the closure of B must be H. Okay. All the limits points must be. So, this shows closure of B is H. Okay. So, we get
from here we get that H is equal to V plus 0. We are getting H is equal to V plus 0.
Means any element will come, it will be 0 only, that is all. and 0 is the common point for B and V perpendicular both. So if we take any arbitrary sequence in Xn, the limit point where it go? It will go to the V only. So it is a closure will be H. You follow me? Suppose I take an arbitrary sequence Xn in V, then limit point of Xn either it will be from B in B or maybe outside of B. Outside V means it must be V perpendicular, but B perpendicular contains only the singletons at 0, which is also available in V. So, only possibility is that it must be the point in V itself. Therefore, B bar will be equal to H. Okay? So, this completes. Is this clear now? So, this is now let us take some more examples. Is it clear or not? Okay, let A is A and B, which is a superset of A, be non-empty subset
Sir, one point, what I think that it should be only V should be is equal to H. Why we are making again the V bar?
Because why make it okay?
As the all the points are always inside the V here.
No, from here it will go V is a subset of H. Is it okay? V is a subset of H. Any H can be expressed as a direct sum of this two. Now, one element is 0. Now, we wanted any sequence x n belongs to H. Then it must be the point in B or B perpendicular. If it is non-zero, then it must be the point in V only. The limiting value of this is x. Since it is a closed, so it must be the point in V again, x. Therefore, B closure will be H. What is V? Is the span of this M, span of this. So, closure of the span will be H. Because if you do not take it this one, then what happens, the points which are the limiting point will not belongs to anywhere, if it is not H.
No, I am saying that here basically the fact is that B is equal to H.
B is subset of H, B is not equal to H. B, because B plus 0 is a H.
But sir, means B is a vector space 0,
हाँ
B plus 0 is always
हाँ ठीक है, इट्स ओके. लेकिन B unless you take the they are also in limiting values, there you have to justify the limiting value is also here, because V and B closure, these two are different thing. Here it is coming to be the same. Yes, here it is coming to be the same. So that's okay. V subset, non-empty subset of an inner product space X. X. Then so that B perpendicular is subset of A perpendicular. Second is A perpendicular, this is obvious of course A perpendicular, okay. And third one, which is already proved, we have started A subset of A perpendicular, okay. This we have already discussed. So, let us say this one solution. Let us take x belongs to B perpendicular, first part. Then x belongs to B perpendicular means the x is a perpendicular to B, okay, but B is a subset, B is a superset of A. So, x is perpendicular to B, orthogonal to B means for every point of B, the inner product x B will be 0. So, that will include the points of A also. So, this shows x is orthogonal to A also. It means x must be the point of, x is perpendicular, x must be the point in A orthogonal complement. Is it not so? So, this shows B perpendicular is covers A perpendicular. Okay. Second part is also simple. What is the A tuple? Means A perpendicular double. is it not? Okay. Now, this one we have seen according to the third, A perpendicular covers A. So, this covers A perpendicular, this covers A perpendicular. Okay. So, A triple perpendicular covers A. Therefore, what you can say about this, A by B, this will be B perpendicular is subset of A, if B is a subset of A, then B perpendicular is contained in A. So, if we take this this one A perpendicular to perpendicular, then this will contain this part. So, where we want, you wanted A perpendicular, yes, it is okay, huh? Clear. This A perpendicular covers A, and A is covers A perpendicular, is it not contained in this? No, covers, this is okay. So, this implies this, okay. This will be this, this is one side. Acha, next other way around is, what you do is you start with this third. What is the third? Third one is A perpendicular will covers A perpendicular, perpendicular, perpendicular. So, these two combined, these two will give both are equal, is it not? No, again I am taking third. A is subset of this, using this result. B is superset of, when you take the perpendicular, the order reverses. So, here take the perpendicular, order reverses. So, here now these two are different, opposite, is it not? So, we get this. Okay. So, this proves that. Clear? That's okay. Then, okay, now we get some more things. Okay, some more examples. Let us take from orthogonal series related to orthonormal sequence. In fact, this one. So, we will discuss something here before going for the series related to orthonormal sequence. Suppose we have a given orthonormal sequence. Let I will just quote a series related to orthonormal sequence. Okay, series related to orthonormal sequence. Okay, then some problem will come here. Okay, suppose H be a Hilbert space. Let H be a Hilbert space. And orthonormal and EK be and EK be any orthonormal sequence in H. Okay, in H. Okay, consider this series. Consider series sigma alpha k E k. K is say 0 to infinity or 1 to infinity, 1 to infinity. Okay, where alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n, these are scalars. Okay, any scalar, real or complex, any. Now, the series converges, we define, we say the series sigma alpha k E k 1 to infinity converges and has the sum S if there exists n x belongs to H such that the sequence Sn such that the sequence Sn of partial sums that is Sn is alpha 1 E1, alpha 2 E2, alpha n En converges to S, converges to S, that is norm of S n minus S goes to 0 as n tends to infinity. Now, this is the norm of H, remember this is the norm of H, because EKs are any orthonormal sequence in H. We want this infinite series is said to be convergent when the sequence of their partial sum goes to a value S, goes to value S under the norm. Then we say S is the sum of the series and the sequence converges. Okay. Now, the criteria is the exercise. Let EK be an orthonormal sequence in Hilbert space H. Let this series be 1. Okay. Okay. Let EK be an orthonormal sequence in a Hilbert space H. Then number A, the series sigma of alpha k E k, k is 1 to infinity, converges in the norm of H if and only if and only if the following series converges, if and only if the series of its scalars, that is sigma alpha k square, k is 1 to infinity, converges. Okay? That is one. And second one is B, the series converges if the series sigma alpha k E k 1 to infinity converges, then the coefficients alpha k are the Fourier coefficients x E k, where x denotes the sum of S, where x denotes the sum of this series, hence in the case 6 can be written. So, x can be written as, so this series can be written sigma x E k k is 1 to infinity. And third one is see, for any x belongs to H, the series sigma alpha k E k, k is 1 to infinity with alpha k equal to inner product x E k converges in the norm of H. So, let us see the first proof, then we will discuss what is the Fourier coefficients. Okay. So, solution is first A. What is given is, let E k be an orthonormal sequence in H and the series sigma alpha k E k converges in the norm of H if and only if the following series converges. Okay. So, let us take S n alpha 1 E 1, alpha 2 E 2, alpha n E n. Okay. And sigma n let us correspond to the mode of alpha 1 square, mode of alpha 2 square, mode of alpha n square. Okay. Now, we want this result that the series this converges in the norm of H, if and only this converges, it means sequence of their partial sum minus S goes to 0 when as n tends to it is convergent, or you can say S n minus S m, this goes to 0 when n m goes to infinity, it becomes Cauchy, and the Cauchy will also Cauchy in alpha k, then it is okay, because if the Cauchy sequence of real and complex number, it is always be convergent. So, we will find out the relation between S n and sigma n. If I show S n is Cauchy if and only sigma n is Cauchy, and sigma n is a sequence of these scalars, therefore, every Cauchy sequence of scalar is convergent. So, S n will converge. Okay. So, let us consider norm of S n minus S m. You follow me? Square of this. What is this? Norm of S n minus S m square means norm of alpha m plus 1 E m plus 1 plus alpha n E n o square. Okay? Because S n first n terms of the series. Okay. S m is the starting with n and then up to m. So, S n minus m means starting with m plus 1 to n. Okay. This is now norm of square is inner product of x and x n. So, since since the norm of x square is the inner product of x x and E j E k inner product is delta I k j k, that is 1 if j is equal to k and 0 otherwise. So, if I open this part, then what happen? E m plus 1 with rest of the thing it will be 0 except 1. So, it will give basically norm of S n minus S m whole square, this will come basically mod of alpha m plus 1 whole square up to alpha n square, and that is nothing but sigma n minus sigma m. Okay. Now, the right hand side series is a Cauchy sequence of real or complex real numbers, is it not? So, it is convergent. So, convergent. Therefore, S n is Cauchy if and only if sigma n is Cauchy. Is it correct or not?
Yes, so if the sigma right hand side is Cauchy, then left hand side
And right hand this also. Now, if this is convergent, this is convergent. Therefore, S n will be convergent. Okay. So, this proves the result. Is it correct now? Because this is real number which is complete. So, it is convergent. Therefore, S n is convergent. Okay. Nothing to prove. Now, for the part second, what you have to do is just orthonormality you have to use. What is our S n? Part B, S n is sigma alpha k E k, k is 1 to n. So, if I take the inner product of this S n E j, what will be? Is it not alpha j? J is 1 to k. So, basically you are getting S n, just substitute here. So, an alpha j, this will go to alpha j which is S n E j, this will go to S E j as n tends to infinity, because inner product is continuous. So, n S n goes to S. Okay. So, this S j means nothing but the inner product of x E j. Okay. So, this again completes. Second one, if I take limit of this, okay, what happened this S n as n tends to infinity is S E j, S is nothing but x. So, as n tends to infinity, this alpha j will go to this point. Okay. So, corresponding series second part, that is x will be equal to sigma x k E k will be. Okay. And third one is it converges in this form, it follows from the first, if the series converges, sigma square is convergent. What is this sigma? Sigma of mod inner product of E k square, this is convergent by Cauchy-Schwarz inequality. Oh, sorry, by Bessel's inequality, by Bessel's, is it not? So, this will give the correspondence. Okay, thank you.